This is Ideagen TV. Thank you for joining us of day 2 of the Dynamic Resiliency Summit. We hope that you enjoy the leaders and luminaries that we brought together and the valuable insights they brought on surviving, recovering, and reimagining operations after the most challenging of circumstances. The summit started off with opening remarks from Microsoft's Gretchen O'Hara, VP of AI and Sustainability Strategy. From there, we jumped into a power chat titled Accelerate: The Power of Dynamic Resilient Partnerships in Unprecedented Times with Gretchen O'Hara, VP of AI and Sustainability Strategy at Microsoft.
Hello, and thank you everybody for tuning in today. My name is Gretchen O'Hara, and I'm the Vice President of AI and Sustainability Strategy here at Microsoft US. And it's great to be joining you at the Ideagen's Dynamic Resiliency Summit as we see the concept of resilience in business as well as life to be more critical than ever. So, included in resilience and recovery is opportunity, particularly around skilling for the future. And so today, I'd love to discuss our Accelerate program, why we're making this investment in skilling, what is the initiative that is included, and how our approach is unique in the market. First, let's set the stage of why we launched the Accelerate program. The rapid acceleration of emerging technology and its impact on the US market and society is redefining our landscape today.
Following Gretchen O'Hara at 10:30, we heard a power chat with the Women in Cloud leader, Chaitra Vadulapalli.
Chaitra Vadulapalli, the co-founder of Women in Cloud and the co-founder and CMO of Mela. Chaitra, welcome.
Thank you, John, for having me. Really excited to be here. John, this year has been amazing and exciting as well as stressful for everybody, right? It was one of those pandemic years where we had to stay at home. Well, I would say is from my side, I actually looked at to really rethink the resilience from reimagining the possibilities that can happen around us, even with the midst of all the chaos that was happening. We knew the world is entering into 2021 with a sense of hope and optimism, and the vaccine is here, which is exciting. And there was a lot of new changes that we are going to expect in the adjustments for the humans this coming year. So,
Following this chat, we heard from Peter Fadelnig, the Minister Counselor for Digital Economy Policies at the delegation of the European Union, as he spoke with Ideagen CEO George Safakis on a resilient EU-US partnership.
You will be pleased to hear that, in fact, the new European Commission, has just a few days ago launched a new initiative to look into the future of work. We have been doing so for years. We have also a wide range of programs which support that. But we want to look now, what did we learn over the last 12 months? How did that change our previous policy, or how should it change our previous policy on the future of work?
At 11:15, we heard a fascinating power chat led by Ideagen CEO George Safakis with guest Mary Ann Gomez Orta, President and CEO of the Congressional Hispanic Leadership Institute, and former U.S. Congresswoman Ileana Ros-Latin.
Mary Ann Gomez, the Congressional Hispanic Leadership Institute. Mary Ann, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Glad to be here.
It's so great to have you here, and together with you to also have a good friend, a great global leader, former Congresswoman Ileana Ros-Latin. Ileana, welcome.
Thank you so much. I am thrilled to be here. I love what we're about to do to discuss how Chile can help you realize your dreams. At least that's what my agenda is, because Chile is a dynamic organization headed by this wonderful lady with whom I share the stage, and it's full of good ideas and good plans for all young people and to strengthen diversity in our great nation.
Yeah, that's a beautiful, beautiful segue. It's again so great to have both of you on Ideagen TV's Dynamic Resiliency Summit.
Following this power chat, we heard a power note from Maurizio Vecchioni, the President and CEO of the Washington Global Health Alliance.
I'm really honored to get to speak to all of you. The subject of resiliency has never been more timely than I think as we move into 2021. from the legacy of 2020 and to some extent the consequences of the multiple stressors that have affected the planet through 2020 and are likely to continue for most of 2021. And of course, I'm talking about the pandemic, but that's not limited to the pandemic. So some of the things that I wanted to share with you today is some of the trends that I'm seeing around the subject of impact and impact investing.
At 12:25, we heard a continued Part 2 Power Chat with Dr. Siddhant Gupta and Nick Villar from Microsoft, titled Elevating Humankind Through Technology, how Nick Villar of Microsoft is applying AI to humanitarian problems.
And today, I'll actually be having a power chat with a friend and a colleague I've known for almost 10 years now, Nick Villar. He's the principal hardware architect at Microsoft, a researcher, an academic, humanitarian, and he's done a lot and a great leader. And one of the biggest properties he has is being super humble, an amazing human being. So welcome, Nick. Good morning and welcome. Thank you for taking the time to chat with us on Ideagen TV.
It's so exciting to be here. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me.
Following that, we heard a power chat with celebrity chef Maria Loy, along with Adriana Sifakis.
Welcome to Maria Loy, restaurateur and #1 celebrity chef. It's wonderful to have you, Maria.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
It's so great to have you here back on Ideagen TV today. To kick off the interview, we all just came off an incredibly challenging 2020 with the situation of the global pandemic. Ideagen defines dynamic resiliency as an organization with a demonstrated, dedicated ethos focused on fostering partnerships across sectors, resulting in surviving, recovering, and reimagining operations after the most challenging circumstances. The ability to see around corners and to reimagine. Maria, what does that mean to you, and how would you define dynamic resiliency?
Well, to me, that means being open to possibilities and opportunities.
At 1 p.m., we heard a fascinating presentation titled Building for Resiliency, Philanthropy and the Technology Imperative, how philanthropic organizations can modernize to meet future challenges, from Kirsten Recker, digital strategist at Authentify.
Philanthropic leaders are becoming more and more worried about their capacity to deliver on their missions. So what's the answer? Modernization and transformation. Philanthropic organizations must develop a sound digital and technology plan that modernizes their organizations to meet the challenges of tomorrow. The good news is that leaders are putting more and more focus on tech infrastructure than ever before. In fact, in a recent survey, 51% of the respondents expect their IT budgets to increase this year. Philanthropic organizations must embrace a technology strategy that improves the experience across the board for all constituents, for everybody from employees, grantees, beneficiaries, and the grant makers.
At 1:15 today, we heard a power chat with Jane Oates, the president and CEO of Working Nation, titled Creating an Ecosystem for Resiliency.
Today, we are thrilled and honored to have Jane Oates, the president of Working Nation, as she brings on Allison Lands for an incredible power chat for the Ideagen Dynamic Resiliency Summit. Jane, welcome.
Thank you. And I'm so happy to introduce you to my friend, Allison Lands. Allison is with a company that I know you've heard a lot about, but I bet you don't know a lot about that. So we're going to fix that today, Allison. Tell us a little bit about you, first of all, and then a little bit about Coursera.
Jane, so great to be with you today. Thank you so much for having me, and thanks to Ideagen as well. About Coursera. So Coursera was started around 2012 by 2 Stanford professors who taught computer science and thought we should make this learning available to the broader world. And so from that, they developed a platform, a skills ecosystem, which now reaches over 77 million learners as of this month in January 2021.
Following that, we heard an inspirational power talk with award-winning singer and songwriter Mary Milben.
Thank you for welcoming me into your homes today. I am so glad to be a part of Ideagen's 2021 Dynamic Resiliency Summit. If I were to coin 2020 in one word, it would be resiliency. The spirit and drive to persevere and rebuild in the middle of a difficult season. Together, all across the world, we endured the most trying year any of us have experienced. But after it all, we made it to 2021. For many of us, we had to say goodbye to family and friends we love, and in unorthodox ways. Jobs and businesses sadly lost, but gratefully, we made it to 2021. Last year, we were all challenged to discover new ways of survival, and gratefully, we made it to 2021.
Following Mary Milben, we moved into a discussion about resiliency for healthcare workers on the front lines with BJ Moore and Dr. Rod Hochman of Providence St. Joseph Health.
Hello and welcome to Ideagen TV, powered by Azure, presented globally by Microsoft. Today, we are honored and very excited to welcome back to Ideagen TV a good friend, BJ Moore, the Executive Vice President and CIO of Providence Health. BJ, welcome.
Thank you, Christian. Really appreciate it. Great to be here.
It's so great to have you again, and I know you have a fantastic power chat coming up. So with that, I'll turn it on over to you, and thank you very much.
Excellent. Thank you. Well, I don't want to spend time introducing myself. Let me go ahead and move over and introduce our guest today, who's going to be Rod Hochman. He's the CEO of Providence and the chair of the American Hospital Association. Just some quick background on Providence. We're one of the largest health systems here in the United States. We operate here on the western side of the United States in 7 states.
As we began to wrap up the day, we heard from Lieutenant Colonel Jake Satiriadis on strategic foresight and futures heading into 2021 and beyond.
Hello, I'm here with Jake Satiriadis, Chief of Strategic Foresight and Futures at U.S. Air Force Headquarters.
Hey, Cooper, thanks so much for having me on. It's great to be back with Ideagen for another interview. Really respect what you all are doing, and the mission that Ideagen has really is so much in line with what my team is working at the Pentagon and Air Force Futures. When you talk about resiliency in the context of 2020 and the pandemic, I think I would really define that as the ability to understand how the future can defy our expectations and core assumptions and present alternatives that we may or may not have considered. And so in order to be resilient, in order to foster this dynamic resiliency as an organization, it's really important to be able to understand the sources of change and disruption in society and be able to envision alternative futures.
Next at 2:30 was a power panel led by Dr. Christine Galeb from the ION Houston, discussing building resilient cities in a brave new world.
Hello and welcome to Ideagen TV. Today we have a very exciting power panel led by Dr. Christine Galeb, the Senior Director for Programs at the ION Houston, regarding building resilient cities in a brave new world. Christine, welcome.
Thank you so much. It's such a pleasure to be here. And of course, the Ideagen crew, yourself and Christian back here, you're doing such great good in this world. I'll pick it up really quick before I introduce our panel, just by talking a little bit about the ION, which is located in Houston, Texas. And the ION's vision is accelerating innovation, connecting communities. Our mission is that the ION anchors, activates, and accelerates the innovation ecosystem through partnerships, pathways, and programs that create opportunities to advance and sustain resilient economic growth in Houston.
Then at 3:10 p.m., we heard a power chat from Stephen James Tingus, disability advocate and leader in the entertainment industry, discussing resiliency of the entertainment industry in 2020.
Today, I am pleased to interview Stephen James Tingus, a dear friend of Ideagen. Welcome, Stephen. It's so great to have you back on Ideagen TV today.
Thank you, Cooper. It's great to be here. To me, dynamic resiliency means that one's ability to look at their surroundings, understand what different communities are dealing with, and how to incorporate yourself into positive and negative situations in order to make things better, not just for yourself, but for those that you interact with.
Finally, to round out the day was a power panel from Opportunity International titled Resiliency in the Midst of Disaster.
Thank you, John, and hello, everybody, especially to my friend Ideagen, and of course, Happy New Year, John, to you, to George, to Christian, and the whole team. Both delighted and honored to be here. Thanks for the opportunity, and joining me today is Twee, and Twee, welcome to the show.
Thank you
for this conversation. Hello.
Well,
so, many of you know me, of course. I've been with Ideagen before on conversations, but especially Twee and I especially thought this was an important event where Twee could join me. Twee is the co-founder and president of the Global Mentor Network, an organization that is really committed to bringing leadership development and mentoring to the ends of the earth, so everybody can get a chance at becoming, realizing their own potential and becoming the leader they should be.
We would like to thank all of today's participants and speakers for giving insightful and inspirational talks regarding dynamic resiliency. We would also like to thank all of our audience members who tuned in, liked, subscribed, and commented. Visit ideagenglobal.com and follow the tab to our summits page to learn more about this summit and future upcoming ones. Ideagen TV, powered by Azure and presented globally by Microsoft.